everyone. This is Morgan Vaughan for Facts at 5, and I'm here today with Reilly Rose, who is, Reilly, say who you are.
I am LTV's studio technician and editor, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yay, I'm so excited to have you. And you are a fresh graduate from a school out here, and you were a freshman when the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah, I was a freshman at Elon University, and I had maybe 3/4 of a freshman year, and then we all got sent home. And I decided to take a gap year, so I've been working at LTV, unlike a lot of my friends who actually decided to go back to school, which I was really surprised at.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people went back to college, and from what I've heard, it was a very odd experience. You know, a lot of like quarantining, not going anywhere, hybrid classes, half in person, half online. And I mean, my whole position on it was, why are you going to pay so much for an experience that's not really what you deserve? But
Well, and this brings up a good point, because you are a theater performance major, right?
yeah.
So that's what I was. And that seems really weird to have classes. If I was a physics major, I
Yeah.
see that would be absolutely fine. But for something that's really requires an ensemble, I could see how that would, why I
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people ended up going back to school because they didn't want to be left behind, because they wanted to
Right.
catch up on credits. But again, with a performance major, if you're not there in person, you're missing half of what you should be learning anyway.
You could take the opportunity, I guess, to get your statistics class out of
Yeah.
the way or whatever, but you could do that online.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you're here. We're all
Me
glad.
too.
We get Reilly Rose for a year. Okay, so we wanted to talk a little bit about schools today, because Michael and I haven't really talked a lot about it, and you are having just graduated and you know a lot about it. But what are one of the things that people are talking about, or that people are concerned about right now, that you found?
I mean, I found one thing that I realized a lot of parents were talking about is, do I send my child back to school after the holiday break? That's a huge thing that they're worried about, because, you know, first of all, we have all the college kids coming home.
Right.
And who knows, first of all, where they've been, how seriously they take it. And then second of all, we don't know who's going where and doing what, and what their boundaries are for the holiday. So I think that's a huge thing right now.
Well, and also they found that it's really the small gatherings that are the most problematic. And I thought this was so interesting, and you brought this up as well, that this is from Newsday the other day, that actually infection rates in schools are under 3%. Whereas right now on Long Island, we're at around 6.1%. In schools, they're about 3%. And even in Syosset, the community infection rate is more than 3%, while the school rate is 1.6%. And in Southampton, the school rate is 2.8% in the community and 1.1% in the schools. And we were talking about that a little bit before we started filming, and I guess the schools are doing something right.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised, because I was really banking on everyone getting sent home in like October. But
Right.
even like East Hampton, there was an article in the East Hampton Star that said they just recently did a rapid test of 207 students and faculty members, 0 positive cases. So again, it's one of those things I was surprised by, but seems to be working.
Now, the other thing I saw, and this was on the cover of the Star this week, and an article by Chrissy Sampson, who we know and love, but that what's going on with teachers? Because that seems to be, where apparently there's a shortage of substitute teachers, and that's a concern, I think, that you were mentioning as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes with high school and college. Professors and teachers are generally in that older bracket, some of them even in that really vulnerable bracket. And so teachers are obviously opting to teach remotely, work from home. If you're a substitute teacher, maybe you won't bring yourself into the school system right now. So I think that if schools do end up closing this coming new year, it's probably going to be because they just don't have the staffing ability to teach in person anymore. And that's what the East Hampton Star, I think, was saying, is that, and even Pearson High School was talking about that being a big concern.
What's going on? And this, I thought, we were talking about this too, and I heard this yesterday on NPR, that kids who are applying now to colleges, that a lot of colleges have waived the SATs, but apparently, especially richer parents, don't believe that.
Yeah.
And so the people who could afford to pay for the college prep are still doing that and then still driving their kids to wherever. Have you heard about that, or what do you heard about that?
I mean, I've heard from a friend who works a lot with ACT tutoring and SAT tutoring that it's off the charts, that it's craziness, and everyone's still doing it as if normal. Tests have been canceled here and there, but I think as soon as they're back up, all the tiger moms are like jumping at it. But
anecdotally, that seemed like, because that seems like what's happening. That's what this was. This reporter on NPR was saying, was that it was, they didn't believe it. The parents are like, no. We're doing the test no matter what.
Yeah.
Even though the schools are like, no. And actually, a lot of people, myself included, think, and this is an opinion, that the tests are swayed anyway, because if you can afford to learn how to take the test, it's not really a test for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think even in general, the SAT and ACT's value is starting to go down as far as the importance in the applications anyway. But it's a really tough year, first of all, to be a freshman in college, and second of all, to be looking for a school. You can't tour. You can't really do the same thing. Like, touring is a huge part of the application process. It's one of, sometimes people will say they walk on a campus and they know, but this whole class is doing everything online.
So was that your experience when you went and the tours was incredibly important?
Yeah, I mean, what I would do with my mom is we would stay an extra night and we would just show up on campus one day and sit in a cafe, watch how the school functions, watch how the students interact. And that was a huge factor for me. So the fact that, I mean, they're doing virtual tours, they're doing online question sessions, but we're all kind of Zoom tired, and it's not the same.
No, it isn't the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, so was there anything else you wanted to touch on today about schools? The one I noticed in the Star that, and I'll put this up, that you can get your child tested for COVID for any reason at a fine set, but this was in October, and I think it's still the same. I'll put the information on the crawl, or on the lower third. Mm-hmm. That you don't need to bring a prescription, and if you do not have insurance, you will not be charged for the test. However, you do need to call to schedule an appointment for Tuesdays and Thursdays. What about this COVID report card?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show. I think I'm going to share my screen because it's on the New York State website, and it is basically, you can look at public schools, charter schools, private schools. So if you're looking at a public school and you type in East Hampton, I'll do Pearson just because I know that it worked in high school. You'll search and it'll give you the report of how they're teaching. They're doing hybrid, how many students are on site, how many teachers are on site, all the information about the COVID reports, the testing reports, and all that stuff. So I think this is really great. If anybody wants to find out specific details about a specific school, they also have it for colleges and universities. I know the New York Times also has one for colleges and universities. So it's a great way to just keep up to date on what the local districts are dealing with. Because
it's amazing that we have all this information, really. Okay, for us right now, the COVID test rate in Long Island, I'll try to do a screen share too, but it always ends up being weird. Let's see.
Yeah, there we go.
So this is the case update from yesterday, and it looks like we are, if you look at the bottom over here, we're at 6.1 test positive in Suffolk County, which is crazy when you think that when we, it had to be at 1% to reopen. We had to be below 1%, and now we're at 6.1%. So it is going up.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that the schools seem to be able to, have been able to manage that a little bit better, especially because, as we know, it isn't just about the kids, it's about all the people who have to work. I mean, it's part of how our society is right now. That's what, and so it makes it really tough on people.
And I think one other thing that's also becoming a topic of concern, like I mentioned, the kids coming home from college, I know a little bit about what that process is because I know some people are curious, are they getting tested when they get home before they leave? So what a lot of schools are doing, not all of them, but some schools are making kids get tested before they come home, before they campus.
Smart.
And
Yeah.
then once they get home, they have to, the New York State guidelines right now are, if you go out of state, you have to get tested 24 hours before you come back into New York, and then you have to get a positive. If you get a positive test result, you only have to quarantine for 4 days. So I think that's what a lot of people have been doing.
You mean if you get a negative test result, you only have to quarantine?
Oh, negative. That's what I meant.
I know it's hard because if you get it, because if the test result is good, and if you don't
very
have
bad things. Yes, it's true. But yeah, but just also as you were saying, it seems that like as numbers are going up, people are not as afraid as we were in March, which is a little concerning.
Okay, so the construction next door has started, so we're just about to wrap it up because you can probably hear them. I definitely can, but I did want to mention this really bit of good news, and this is from an email from Charles Soriano to all those students that they had, and this is from about a week ago, I think. They had received word from our food services company that starting on December 1st, they will be offering free breakfast and free lunch to all students. We are hoping that this helps families who are struggling right now by ensuring that all students get offered a hot meal for breakfast and lunch daily. This will be offered through the end of the school year and will do away with the need for lunch cards, making lines and distribution a lot smoother. And if you have any questions, you can be in touch with the food services manager, Melissa Curran, and I'll put the note, her number at the top. And this is district-wide for all students. So that is an amazing gift to the community in my mind, because there are a lot of people who are really suffering from food insecurity right now for all the reasons that we talked about.
Yeah.
Moms can't go to work, dads can't go to work. And, I was lucky because my kid is 19 and he was lucky because he was at a good school that he can stay at. But if you had little kids, I don't know what you would do right now, because I couldn't be at work right now if he was 5.
Yeah.
So it's really, I could be working remotely, but that's, still, so I think that's great. They're doing that. And again, I'll have all that information. All right, Reilly Rose, anything else?
I think that's it. We got to just stay positive, be careful, be safe.
Be careful, be safe, wear your mask. And I can't wait to have you back on.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.